Well, now let's turn our attention to our main story this morning. Andy Farrell has been speaking to the media. Here he is talking about what kind of rugby he wants the Irish team playing.
I want to see the good old traditions of what all champion Irish teams have always been about, you know. Well, we want to be a team that the Irish public love watching, you know. I suppose the traditional parts of those teams have always been a dominant forward pack, an aggressive forward pack, unbelievably hard to handle. I've been on the other side of that myself, and a back line that facilitates that for the forward pack and also takes advantage for what the forwards are doing for them. You know, that's going back throughout history, you know, and yeah, those are the essential parts of the game. There are little bits that we're trying to build. They'll take time. We'll see how they progress over the next wee while, but hopefully before not too long we're talking about our own history as well.
Yeah. So look, I mean, we're not stupid. Our identity is that we've had good packs, and occasionally we've had backs who were good enough to match our good quality packs. And when those two things were in concert, we would win a championship or maybe a Grand Slam. Mm-hmm. Twice, exactly. In the modern era.
And it coincides nicely that we've had a collection of fantastic back rows over the last 10-15 years that have allowed that link between forwards and backs to become a bit more of a seamless thing. But I guess there is two ways you could look at it. You could say to yourself, oh no, not more play that's predicated on how good our forwards are. Or you could look at it and say, well, actually, that this is the way we are fixed. Perhaps our best talents, well, not perhaps, and definitely our best talents have been in the back row, as I've said recently. That is in the pack. So perhaps we should be utilising our best position of the pitch as much as we can.
Yeah, so look, some people are like, it's conservative. Why can't we be the Harlem Globetrotters? Because, like, look, I mean, everybody knows. I think that's just a message. I still love my forwards. Don't worry. I mean, my cat's going to make our backs look great. We're going to have a variation on all of our attacking play. We're going to start playing a little bit like Leinster. Leinster's pack are really good.
Like, I think we've mentioned Will Addison at the top of the show. He's somebody that I would have liked to have seen get some game time at the weekend, a really exciting prospect. But perhaps if you focus too much on that, you forget the fact that Jordan Larmour is going to be starting for it. Like, this is...
Larmour and Conway.
Like, and Conway, who obviously has been brilliant. Like, this is the anointing, essentially, of Jordan Larmour this weekend. It's like, here is your jersey, this is yours. Go forth and dazzle every other rugby player you come up against for the next couple of years. You can step off both feet. You've got speed. Other than Andrew Conway, perhaps the fastest player in the squad right now. Just so much to be excited about when it comes to this player. And I think we've kind of lost sight of the fact that this is his first opportunity as a starter. It's always been Rob Kearney ahead of him. This is the beginning of Jordan Larmour's Ireland career.
Properly, yeah.
Properly.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's
pretty exciting.
What I think that the first thing that kind of jumped out to me was Cooney not getting his opportunity from the start. Well, I'm not sure about that, and Will Addison not getting an opportunity in the squad. They were two disappointing elements, but then I think it's just impossible to not be excited by Doris and especially Larmour.
Well, let's hear what Andy Farrell had to say about his selection decisions.
Well, we've got three centres that are starting, and Chris Farrell and Stu McCluskey, who are in great form as well, and you've got to make a choice somewhere along the line. There's not that much in it, to be honest. I'm a massive Robbie Henshaw fan, and Robbie knows that you've got to make a decision, and we think for this week, we'll go with Bundy, and Gary Ringrose is in great form, so we'll see how that goes, and Robbie's there, raring to go, coming off the bench. Yeah, no, we looked after him for a few days, but we've had plenty of walkthroughs, etc., jog-throughs, and Jordan's been part of all that, and he's been training for the last couple of days, and he was flying out there today. John's in great form. John's part of this squad. He's in fine form. He's had a few days that he missed through HIA protocols, but still, as I said before, Connor's been going great guns in camp as well, and John's been supporting Connor within that role, and everyone's round to go now. Well, we've got to do what's right for the group, you know. We've got to do what's right for the team to be at our best on Saturday, and we believe for this game, we'll see how we go after that.
And in some ways, I suppose, because so many people are talking about John Cooney, it's not about making the popular call, is it?
No, I've got to do what's right for the team. I've got to do what's right for the team to perform, and that's my job.
It's funny, we had Stephen Ferris on a couple of weeks back, and he was talking about the Munster-Ulster game, after which the general public had anointed, oh, well, Cooney won that one, because obviously Ulster crushed Munster. And he was making the point that if you just looked at the basics of what the two scrum halves did, Conor Murray's performance was the equal of, if not better than, John Cooney's that day. He did all the basics well. His pack got beaten up and destroyed, and so therefore he's on the back foot, but his passing was good, his time with the rucks was good. Like, the type of thing that, if you look at these two performances in isolation, which obviously the selectors will do, right? And then you spool that forward to training, where the difference in the two players' careers, we're talking about somebody with 90 caps, probably 100 international caps maybe at this point, if you include all his lines as well, close enough to it, and John Cooney with barely any, and they're the same age. There's going to be a massive advantage when it comes to the training sessions and how quickly Conor Murray adapts to what the coaching ticket wants from him, but just because he's a few rungs ahead of Cooney in the ladder. So Cooney probably had to shoot the lights out in the last two rounds of the Heineken Champions Cup and in training, and might not just have been there yet. So maybe over the course of the tournament he displaces him, but like, I think the outcry against Murray and in favour of Cooney would have been an easy decision to just ride that train. First game in charge, I'm going to do that. But actually, this means that this makes Cooney go back and go, right, I've got to do a bit more.
Possibly. I'm not sure if there has been an outcry against Conor Murray in all of this. I think it's genuinely just been an outcry for John Cooney. I think Conor Murray, I think he'll probably say his lowest ebb came at some point during 2019 so far in his career. I think that it's probably come back up a little bit over the last month or two. Like, and Ferris was right in what he was saying, that if you take the two performances in isolation, there's no guarantee that Cooney was the better scrum half on the night. But I don't think there was any guarantee that Murray was the better scrum half on the night either. I get the fact that he's played more alongside Johnny Sexton recently. You want to have a scrum half who has played with the majority of that pack in the green jersey for a while, and perhaps the fact that you've got a brand new cap in at number 8 means you need to have the experienced, higher capped player at number 9. I buy all that, but I just feel that if you were picking on form, especially for your opening game as a coach against Scotland, John Cooney is the guy. Like, you're not saying that Murray's been terrible. You're just saying that Cooney's been fantastic.
I wonder, does Cooney get 25 minutes in a way that he would never have got 25 minutes off the bench for Ireland when Schmidt was there? Like, most games, Murray would have played the vast majority of it. I wonder if then that changes and actually you begin to see they don't think this is significant diminution. Ross Byrne's on the bench as well, which is obviously something that means that Cooney is just cover, he's specialist cover as opposed to cover for 10 as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I hadn't really thought too much about it until Ronan O'Gara mentioned it yesterday, and I like that whole aspect of John Cooney being your place kicker off the bench, which does mean, however, that you've only got one half back on the bench. Your Robbie Henshaw becomes your number 22, and then Will Addison will become your number 23. I personally would like to have seen that more, but I get the fact that he'll probably want to replace Murray and Sexton at some point, because it's a preservation game as well at the start of the Six Nations. But just on the last point on Cooney, like, I think O'Gara mentioned it as well yesterday morning, that, you know, he's not going to be place kicking for Ireland. And I do wonder if that part of the analysis isn't actually helping John Cooney, that people are like, well, he's not going to be the scrum half he is for Ulster that he is for Ireland, because Sexton's going to be taking all the kicks. But I think if you forget all that, of course he's a great place kicker and all that, but just as a pure scrum half, doing what scrum halves tend to do and not being on the tee, he's been absolutely unbelievable all season. So
did he not come off the absolute peak in the last 2 rounds of the Champions Cup?
I would definitely say that the hype has cooled and a little bit.
Yeah.
But it couldn't have got much more intense. I still thought he was really good in the penultimate round. Like, I don't think he's been bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Let's hear a bit more from the game plan. And here he is talking, Andy Farrell talking about the Irish game plan ahead of the 2026 Nations. Have a listen.
Well, obviously we've got a plan in the back of our mind, a game plan of how we want to play, and obviously, hopefully that will come to fruition to you guys over the coming weeks, you know. But at the same time, we want to win. You know, we want to perform at the weekend, and simply put, we pick a side to hopefully do a job against the Scotland team this week. We're open-minded enough to see whether that team changes next week, because, like I've said, and I've said to the players, competition for places has to be our friend in this competition, and that's how we'd like it to stay.
All right, we all hope that Ireland can take a little bit of Leinster's game plan, that Mike Catt is some kind of offensive genius, and away we go.
That would be nice. I don't think anybody really expects it. I don't think we're going to see much different from Ireland. I think we could see a very effective Six Nations which sees us go close to a championship, and I don't think stylistically we're going to see much different. I think we forget, or not that we forget, I think it's very obvious actually that there's been continuity from the Schmidt era. That was the whole point of this.
I think we'll see some significant differences. I don't think that I'm certainly not going to judge Andy Farrell's entire tenure or his ambition on this Six Nations alone, because it's his first opportunity to have any game time with the players. But I do think that, like, the influence of Mike Catt and I think the continuity is actually less important than the similarity in styles between the current coaching ticket and what's going on at Leinster. I think that's the best part about this, and I'm really looking forward to how that evolves over the course of the next 18 months to 2 years, because this is a long-term project.
Okay, it will evolve, but I don't expect an evolution to happen in the next month or two that will allow us to be sitting here at the end of the Six Nations saying, well, we've now got a vastly different Ireland team. I think we will be excited about the careers of Caelan Doris and Jordan Larmour, more excited, I should say, Andrew Conway as well. Perhaps there'll be a new midfielder who's going to play, and we'll have Ronan Kelleher coming in.
Okay, quickly, where are we going to finish? Where are we going to finish?
Second.
Behind England?
England, yeah.
I think there's a chance now. I feel a bit more confident now that I've seen that team. There's a chance we could win this whole thing. Obviously, this is the hardest one to win. But anyway, coming up on Thursday's OTB AM, Thursday's tomorrow, we'll give you the chance to win 2 tickets to Ireland against Scotland in the Aviva Stadium on Saturday. We're going to let you know how you can enter and win tomorrow morning at 7:30. On top of that, all this week on Off the Ball's Twitter page, we've got a daily competition courtesy of Vodafone Ireland. That's at Vodafone Ireland on Twitter, with prizes being given away each day, including jerseys, signed rugby balls and signed team pictures. We're also giving away tickets to all of Ireland's home games in the Six Nations to one of the daily prize winners. So all of the home games, we're going to give you tickets for them. One single winner is going to go to all of our home games. Keep an eye on our Twitter page all this week to give them a chance to win some of these great prizes. Plenty coming up in the next hour. Football, Nathan Hines, Super Bowl, and Dublin star Martha Byrne. It's 4 minutes past 8. We're going to be back with our top 5 stories after these.